All right, so before each lecture, as I said in the how to navigate this online class, it's kind of a mouthful, there's an outline. And the outline provides just kind of a framework from where to approach the lecture. I encourage you to take notes from this outline. And then at the bottom of the outline are those key terms that are going to form the basis of the exams. So in each lecture, I will include this little video just to kind of sum up the outline for you. Again, I just think it's helpful to have multiple ways of seeing this material. So in this lecture, what we're looking at is what was life for Indigenous peoples like prior to the arrival of Europeans. And as you're going to see in the lecture, there are tens of millions of people here in the Americas. There are hundreds and hundreds of different nations, and we're going to try to do this in one lecture. So obviously, this is a lot of generalization, just trying to give us a sense of what life looked like. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with some creation stories. We'll look at how the Iroquois and how the Cherokee understand their origins. You have a document, a primary source as well, that you're going to look at in the assigned reading that tells origins. And what we're thinking about when we're looking at these origin stories is, what are some themes? How can, if this is how these people explain their origins, what does it tell us about how they see themselves and their place in the world? And then we're gonna consider several different groups of people just to try to get a little bit more focused. So we'll talk about some of the earliest peoples that were here. We call them the Clovis peoples. We don't know how they identified themselves. We'll talk about the Clovis peoples, and they are more what we would refer to as semi-sedentary, which means that they moved. Sedentary means settled, and so semi-sedentary, and it doesn't necessarily mean they. It's not this idea of aimlessly wandering. They had a community, and they had area that was perceived, and there's not the sense of ownership, but perceived as like their community, but they didn't have settled structures in the way that we're going to see the Anasazi with Chaco Canyon, or the mound builders in Cahokia, or the Iroquois with their longhouses. So again, we'll look at some more semi-sedentary peoples with the Clovis peoples, some of the earliest peoples that are here in the Americas, and then we'll look at several groups that are a little bit more settled, and we'll start over where we are in the West, and then we'll move our way back to the East. And we had started the story with the Iroquois, and we'll end our lecture with the Iroquois too on the East Coast. And then the last thing we want to think about are population estimates around the year 1500, when we're going to get contact between these two hemispheres, because it complicates our understanding, or at least our traditional understandings of this idea of discovery. And I'm using that word loosely because, as you're going to see here, you can't really discover people that have been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, as you're going to see in this lecture. All right, if you have any questions, you can put those in the discussion board. You can send an email. I think you'll enjoy this one. It's a fun one. I like starting off with those creation stories, so I hope you enjoy that. Take care.